What's up, everybody? I'm AJ, and welcome to In Love with Horror, where we discuss all things horror. And y'all, the most hyped horror film is finally out. It's released, it's in the wild, it's in theaters, and I have seen it, and I'm gonna give y'all my non-spoiler review for Longlegs. Now, unfortunately, my usual co-host will not be able to be in this review because she wasn't available to see the film. So I'll be doing this review solo, but don't worry, I'm gonna still give y'all the straight, raw, and real review. You know how we do in this channel. We don't bandwagon, we give you the real deal, our true feelings on how we feel about a film. And this is gonna be an interesting one because this movie is stupid hype. I know y'all seen it, y'all seen the ads, y'all seen all the the pre-screenings, all the tweets and all the discussions surrounding this film. This is a very highly anticipated film. And as all the stuff started to come out, all the reactions started to come out, I was getting more and more hyped to see this film, but now finally seeing it. And let's jump into this non-spoiler review. So first, if you're not familiar with what Longlegs is a horror film by Oz Perkins. Oz did films like Gretel and Hansel, The Black Coat's Daughter. And the film is about an FBI agent played by Micah Monroe who uncovers a series of occult clues that she uses to try to take down the serial killer played by Nicolas Cage. And if you didn't know, this is a very, very hyped horror movie. It was getting a lot of good pre-screenings and reactions. For a while on Rotten Tomatoes, it was rocking 100%. So it's a very highly anticipated film. Maybe you've seen some trailers, like with the taglines calling it the scariest film of the decade and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get into it and give you how my overall thoughts on how I feel about it. So, and again, this is non-spoiler review, and I feel like this is the kind of film where you do want to go in with not really knowing too much about it, even from a visual standpoint. So in this video, I won't even really be using like any clips or anything like that because I don't want to really give anything away. This is definitely a film that you want to experience. Now, off the top, I will say that this is a really good film. Like, I'll get into all the positives and negatives, but I wanted to say off the top that it is a really good film. But I got to be honest, I feel like it is slightly overhyped, slightly. So let's go into the positives, right? So off the rip, the direction that Oz Perkins did with this film. This is a beautiful movie, y'all. Like, it is gorgeous to look at. I love some of the shot composition, some of the camera movements. Even there's a lot of just stationary camera work in this film that just looks really good. It is a visually striking film in a very artistic but yet simple way. And as far as like the horror film aspect is concerned, a lot of the shot compositions help build a lot of the anxiety-inducing sequences within this film. Now, speaking to the horror aspect of this film is definitely creepy. I love the mood and the vibe and the tension and the just uneasy, unnerving feeling that this film gives you. It's pretty much there throughout the entire film. It's a constant that's always present. You always feel a little bit on edge because especially the way he composes some of the shots, you're always not sure if something's going to, appear or what have you. Now, I will say there are some jump scares in this film, not too many, and I do feel like they're not too cheap. And because the whole film also has this creepy mood to it, it's not something that they rely on. The film is already creepy in and of itself. So in the horror aspect, I think it's great. Some more positives: the performances. Micah did an incredible job in this film. Nicolas Cage, y'all. I thought dude killed it in this film, and I'll get into some things with negatives when it comes to Nicolas Cage, but it has more to do with the marketing and expectations of this film. We're definitely gonna get into that in this review. But overall, this is an incredible horror film, and another thing I did want to mention too is the audio. Man, the audio sounds in this film, from the slight creaks and the whispers and the bombasticness when scenes get really hyped up and a lot is going on. And then just the music it almost in some ways reminded me of Sinister, and how Sinister really used these weird audio sounds to amplify the creepiness or the uneasiness that you're seeing visually. Everything I felt like really complemented each other within this film, from the performances to the audio to the visuals. It was a beautiful package of just, dope horror shit in this film. Like it, man, it was really good. Now, that being said though, let me get into some of the negatives with this, right? So some of the negatives that I have with this film, it really revolves around marketing and expectations, right? So, like I said, going into this, right, this film was stupid hyped up. Like, I'm sure y'all, like I said at the top of the video, y'all have seen it. This film is dumb hyped. And I actually avoided trailers on this one. That was kind of a cool aspect. Normally I do, watch trailers for films, but this was one film that I felt like when those initial teasers dropped at the beginning of the year, those like 10-second clips that really offered nothing. Those were the only things that I watched of this, in regards to marketing for this movie. I did not watch the full trailer when it dropped. So this is the first movie in a while that I went into with, almost basically blind. And that was a cool experience. But I feel like as a result, though, by not watching the trailer and hearing a lot of the feedback and how viral this movie is going for, quotes like scariest film of the decade. It's even on the poster for this, or not poster, but it's even on the ads that I've seen on websites. You know how you just browse websites and you get the little banners in the middle or on the side. I've been seeing scariest film of the decade touted with this film. People saying that it's super terrifying, things like that. And there was even, and I mentioned Nicolas Cage, right? There's even, I have seen that there was advertisements. They were mentioning something along the lines of like, when Michael Monroe first saw Nicolas Cage on set and our heartbeat was like stupid fast. So like a lot of these elements were building my expectations to, a stupid high level, to the point where I felt like because I went in blind and I allowed my imagination expectations to get really high, that certain elements let me down. And that one of them was Nicolas Cage's look. So I actually had no idea what he looked like because I never saw the trailers. But, I saw the advertisement that talked about Michael Monroe's reaction to seeing him on set for the first time. And I was hearing all these things about him. And so I was kind of let down by how he looked in the film a little bit because I literally had no clue. But because I was hearing about her heartbeat being crazy fast and it being creepy and terrifying, I'm like, man, he must look scary as hell. But I was kind of disappointed by that. And then I think overall, because they were using all these like terms and quotes, and maybe I'm at fault for doing this, right? And I can accept that if it's, really on me for buying into the marketing of, oh, this is the scariest film of the decade and shit like that. You can't help but buy into it a little bit, especially when people are also corroborating that and, social media reactions and stuff saying, oh, this film is terrifying, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't help but buy into it a little bit. And I do feel like this film wasn't as terrifying as I was expecting it to be. Not to say that it ain't creepy. It is very creepy. There are some extremely creepy imagery in this film, creepy ass audio. Like I said, a lot of sinister vibes in this film. Like remember the audio from like the tapes and just the sounds of violent acts and things like that. That's all present in this film. So there's plenty of creepy moments, but I feel like as a whole package, I wasn't walking away feeling terrified. After you watch a film that really is terrifying and you're almost scared to walk around your own house, I didn't really get that effect, coming home after watching this film. Not to say that I didn't, have a little bit of moments of like uneasy creepiness, but it didn't hit on the terrifying factor as hard as I was hoping to. But it's definitely not light work. So I feel like anybody that's not like, super horror fanatics, they will be terrified by this movie 110%. I'm going to tell you that right now. And there are genuinely some creepy images and creepy sounds and creepy sequences in this film that will give you anxiety, will stress you out, will put you on the edge of the seat. I promise you that creepiness is there. So don't take me saying that the whole package isn't terrifying as it doesn't have the mood and the vibe of extreme uneasy and creepiness, because I'm telling you that stuff is there. And the last piece that I'll say that really kind of brought this film down a level for me is the finale. I can honestly say that the conclusion or ending of this film fell a little bit flat for me. Now, I can't get into the details. Like I said, it's non-spoiler, so I don't want to even really mention too much in relation to why it fell flat, because I feel like that might, kind of give a little bit of spoilers or insight into the direction of where this film goes. And I don't really want to, spoil that for anyone, because I want them to experience it for themselves, because I actually did like the direction it was going. But my problem was that they kind of like showcased an element of involvement with the story of this film. And I felt like it was starting to go in a particular direction. And I kind of wanted them to go even further with the finale, to really push it into that arena. It only got hinted and teased at, and I wanted them to go full fucking force by the end of this film, especially in the finale. And it just kind of fell flat for me. I'm be honest, it fell a little bit of flat for me, and I feel like it kind of ended a little abruptly, and that just didn't work for me. And I feel like that actually brought the film down a peg. You know what I'm saying? Like, the journey and the ride to get to the finale is amazing. It's filled with all the things that I was hoping, expecting to see. Amazing performances across the board. Nicolas Cage is creepy and weird, and just like psychotic in a way. You know what I mean? And it's got like, graphicness. It's got the violence. It's got the twistedness. Getting under the skin. The beauty of the camera work, all those things, the package is all there. And the journey and the ride to the end is amazing. Like, I was loving it. I was like, damn, this shit is really good. But that ending, it just fell a little bit flat. I wish they would have went a little bit harder, took it all the way there, really dived into basically what they were showcasing. But they didn't really go all the way. And that kind of brought the movie down. And for me, it kept it from being like masterpiece level. Like, I was seeing a lot of the reactions saying is like, oh, this is a fucking masterpiece. Best horror film in the last decade, scariest horror film in the last decade. And that kind of brought it down for me. And to be completely honest, man, because I keep thinking back to that ad, and it almost reminds me of when like The Witch and It Comes at Night and stuff like that was coming out, and you were getting all these advertisements saying like it's one of the most, terrifying movies. And, a lot of people had sour reactions to that, because it definitely wasn't. I don't think this is as bad as those films in terms of the marketing. I love those films, but I'm talking about strictly from a marketing perspective. This film at least brings some of the creepiness, but I personally don't think it's the scariest film of the last decade. I mean, shit, to me personally, I think The Conjuring 2 is even scarier than this film. Not to say this film is weak in the horror aspect. It just, to me, as a whole package, Conjuring 2 is a little bit more scary. Not to say this film don't got some crazy, twisted, disturbing shit in it. It does, but I feel like even a movie like The Conjuring 2 left me more terrified and unnerved and uneasy walking in my own crib versus this film. But yeah, y'all, I mean, it's weird, man. I hate moments like this, and I feared it. If you go back and you watch some of our other videos, like our most recent news reaction, our most recent live news discussion, I kind of even mentioned I was concerned because I was just hearing so much hype, which kept increasing my expectations, and I was getting really nervous that it wasn't going to meet these expectations. And I can say that I think it almost met my expectations. I do think if it was just a tiny bit under it, if I gotta keep it real with y'all, it's a tiny bit under my expectations, just because people are hyping this film to the max. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it just didn't quite get there because of how it concluded. It was just very, very weak in my opinion. But man, the journey there was incredible. And so I will say that I do think this is a great horror film. I will go as far to say that it will for sure be at the very least in the top 10. That's 100% for sure. I'm sure it'll be in the top 10 for me for horror films of this year. I'm not willing to go any further than that right now. I got to sit on it some more, because I just watched it and just got done watching it not even a few hours ago. I got to digest it a little bit more and maybe watch it again to really, determine if it can break that top 5. But it is for sure gonna be in the top 10, and it will. And if it don't break top 5, it'll at least be number 6. But this is a really good film that I do feel. I was debating this, right. So when I made this movie, when I made this video, I kind of already have a title in mind or a thumbnail in mind. Y'all probably already seen it, but it was going to center around, is this film overhyped? And I was asking myself that, like, is this a film that's overhyped? And I can honestly say that in some ways I think it is, y'all. But I gotta keep it real. I think this film is slightly overhyped. And don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that it's not good, because it actually is a really good film. Trust me. Compared to some of the shit we getting this year, it's a great film compared to some of those films. But I do feel like, based off of what I said earlier, it missed the mark slightly. But I still really enjoyed it. I actually want to watch it again. Just to, having all the knowledge, watching it again, watching it, after digesting everything, just to get another taste of it, just to see if it solidifies what I'm exactly thinking. And I will tell you, the fact that I even want to rewatch it is a huge positive. I'll let you know already off rip that it's pretty good, because I don't typically rewatch films unless I really do like them. So all that to say, it's a great film. Go check it out. Go support this movie. I actually want more movies like this. This movie felt very, and I didn't mention this in the positives, but it's a very original concept. And I look, I could be wrong, but it felt original to me. I like how they present the story. I like the pacing of it. I really like the concept, which is why I was kind of disappointed by the finale. I really wanted them to hit that concept even harder than they did, but I really love the idea of this film, and I want to see more. This almost had like a, Neon and A24 are creating this like very artistic, auteur horror type of vibe, and this has definitely had. It's a Neon movie, but definitely had the A24 flavor. Like, I could have, if you would have put the A24 logo at the front of this, I could have seen this being an A24 movie to be 100%. So I'm loving the direction the A24 and Neon are going with this horror. And I actually want to see more horror films like this that feel original and creative and interesting and gripping. This has it all. Again, really good, but kind of missed the mark. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it, right now, either a 3.5 or 4 out of 5. I haven't settled on it 100%, but it's going to be either 3.5 or a 4 out of 5. That's kind of where I'm in the ballpark at right now. But that's what I think about this film, y'all. That's Longlegs. I'm glad I finally got to see this film, because this shit was being hyped for so long. They had so many damn like pre-screenings in other locations, and unfortunately none came to our area. I was like, damn, like, why we can't get one of these early screenings? But I'm just glad it's out and I finally saw it. And honestly, it seems like this film is going to do pretty good. I saw the projections or the estimates for this Thursday night preview is around 2.5 to 3 million, and they were saying if it keeps on track, it's projected to make somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 million, which is really good for a film like this. My theater was packed. The auditorium was full. I was very shocked. So this film definitely has the marketing behind it. A lot of people are talking about it. So this could be a big win for horror this weekend in terms of the box office. So I'm gonna be excited to see how well it performs. I did have like a dude who talked way too damn much in my theater. It was actually the first time in a while that I had a slightly negative theater experience, because in the beginning, the dude was talking a lot. Saying a lot of like weird and dumb shit. It was annoying as hell. But I'm like, yo, like, when y'all go to the movies, like, try to be respectful of the people around you, man. That's why a lot of people stop going to the movies, because idiots like that that's in the theater, just being mad disrespectful. But if you've seen Longlegs, y'all let me know down in the comments, what did you think about it? Do you think it's overhyped, or do you think that it is deserving of all the hype it's getting? I saw the critic rating for the Rotten Tomatoes is sitting around 92%. The audience right now, that of the time of this recording, was sitting around 66% with 100 plus verified reviews. So I'm curious to see how this is going to fluctuate over the course of the weekend. But y'all let me know, how are you feeling about Longlegs? Am I missing the mark here by saying that I think it's a little bit overhyped? I'm curious to see what y'all think. But hey, look, if you tuned into the entire video, thank you so much for tuning in and showing love and support by watching the entire thing. Make sure you like, make sure you comment. and make sure you share it as well. And if you like, this type of content, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We talk about all things horror over here. We discuss horror movies, horror TV shows, horror games. We do, of course, the reviews. We do the trailer reactions. Sometimes I do stream gameplay as well. I need to go back and finish Still Wakes the Deep. That's going to come at some point. And then every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, we do a live horror news discussion where we cover all the news for horror movies, horror TV, horror games, all the big news that dropped from the past week. So join us this weekend at, again, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Sunday for live horror news talk, y'all. But hey, look, this has been... I'm just glad I finally saw this film to talk about it, and I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks. But thank you so much again, and subscribe to stay tuned in to All Things Horror. I'm out. See you on the next one. Peace.